What's up, guys? Got a good subject today. This is going to be I don't know how to put this any other way, but kind of blunt and honest. But some of you guys that are fighting, you could be even good fighters. You could be a good fighter in the gym. You could be talented, tough, athletic, whatever. Some of y'all aren't going to make it because you can't handle outside stress. And you're lazy outside of the gym. I'll be honest with you too. I know multiple people over the years, a few people that had all the talents in the world to make it to a high level. They were tough enough to be in the UFC. They were athletic enough to be in the UFC. They were strong enough, whatever attribute each individual fighter needs to get to the UFC. They had some of these attributes enough that could have got them there, but they couldn't handle their outside stress. They were lazy outside of the gym. They were late to practice. They were late to work. They couldn't keep a job. Very few people, guys, very few people make it far or to the UFC and don't have to work their way up, like as in work a job. Obviously, you're gonna have to work in the gym, but if you can't keep a freaking job to work 8-hour shift 5 days a week, you can't even do that and practice on top of that. You ain't gonna make it. You ain't gonna make it. There's very few people that are just blessed to be a D1 national champion and have all these sponsors pay for them to be able to train full time and pursue MMA. There's very few guys. The majority of people I know that ever made it to the UFC or a high level all had jobs and worked jobs to be able to pursue this dream. And some of you guys out there, like I know students that, I haven't been to practice in a couple of days, work's just been killing me, this and that. It's always some excuse when really you just need to suck it up and quit being lazy in your personal life and learn how to deal with stress. It is stressful working a 10-hour shift and then going to practice 3 hours on top of it and having no life and doing that. Try doing that for 5 years in a row. Try doing that for multiple years. That's what a lot of us did to get to where we got to, is we worked a full-time job. I remember coming up, I worked multiple jobs, guys. I worked in the oil field. I worked for 3 different oil field companies. I worked at Target. I worked at World Market. I worked at a painting and sandblasting company. I worked at as a bouncer at multiple clubs. Odd hours, staying up late, going home, getting to sleep, getting to sleep 4 or 5 hours, and then if even 4 hours maybe, and then having to go to practice, and then coming home, taking a nap in the middle of the day, then going back to evening practice, then going back to work at nighttime when I was working at clubs as a bouncer and a manager. These things have to be done. If not, it's highly unlikely you're going to make it. Thinking that you're going to be a regional fighter, getting all these sponsors to cover all your stuff, and or trying to be 25, 30 years old, living with your parents still. That's going to be hard as well, because they're going to get sick of dealing with that as well. Of being an adult and not getting your stuff done. But I do not know many people that ever made it to a high level that didn't have a job. So I guess the video is simple as far as basically you need to learn how to handle stress. If you can't work a regular job and pursue your dream on top of that, it's highly unlikely you're making it to the UFC. And it's also highly unlikely you're going to have the mental fortitude to even deserve to be there. So something to think about, guys. How you do anything is how you do everything. Go to your job, work hard, come to practice, work hard, develop this mindset of working hard and making stuff happen, because there's very, very unlikely someone's going to save you. And some sponsor's gonna come along and just give you free housing, free training, and just let you pursue your dream. That's highly unlikely, because I don't know many people that that's happened to. A few, but very, very few for sure. So something to think about, guys. Learn how to handle stress outside of practice. Because I know plenty of people that can't handle stress in the gym. They can get beat up. They can go many rounds. They can get Shark Tank. They can have multiple guys come in and beat them up in a sparring session. They can do all of these things, but none of that matters if they can't handle the outside stresses of life. So something to think about, guys. Learn how to, it really ain't that hard. It's called mental fortitude. Keeping a job That doesn't mean you have to like your job. It means you need to work hard, not get fired, and don't be late all the time. Don't be late to practice. Handle outside. Don't do. You have problems with your girlfriend or your family, your brother, sister, whatever. The situation is simple. If you can't handle these stresses, you're never going to make it to a high level in fighting. It's highly unlikely. Even if you were able to be that special of a talent to make it, you're not going to stay there. You're not going to stay at a high level if you can't handle stress. So just my thoughts, guys. It really it's not easy, but it's simple. It's a simple strategy. You work hard, you have no life, and you train as much as you can if you want to make it to a high level. If not, it's highly unlikely when you're dealing with people now that have been training their whole life. Kids nowadays have been doing jiu-jitsu and wrestling since they're 5 and 6 years old. And I got guys coming in that 18, 19, 20, 22 years old thinking they're going to the UFC, and they can't even handle the stress of keeping a job, working a regular job, and training full time. Just my thoughts, guys. If you're new to martial arts and you're looking for a gym in your area, get my book, The Ultimate Guide to Choosing a Martial Arts School Instructor. Link is in the description. And if you have any other subjects you'd like me to talk about, go ahead and leave a comment, please.